شاء الله كان البريك كويس. الآن سارة العايد هي الشريك المؤسس لشركة تراكس. عرفت برائدة صناعة العلاقات العامة على مستوى منطقة الخليج، وتم اختيارها سفيرة يوم رائدات الأعمال العالمي للشرق الأوسط وشمال أفريقيا. هي مدربة مختصة أيضا في التواصل والإتيكيت، وشاركت في برنامج الإصرار على قناة MBC كأحد أعضاء لجنة التحكيم. خلونا نسمع كلمة من تراكس، نسمعها من الأستاذة سارة العايد، نرحب فيها على الستيج.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم جميعا. بدي أعتذر منكم إنه أنا كلماتي بالإنجليزي، فإن شاء الله يكون هذا الشيء يعني مقبول بالنسبة لكم. فكلماتي اليوم عن الشيرينج ايكونومي. Okay. Sharing economy, the creation of value, trust, and responsibility. I was in the Women's Conference in France a couple of weeks ago, and I was attending a session which I was excited to attend. It was called Rising to the Challenges of Digital Disruption. How many of you think that today the social realm, the digital economy, is going through a disruption? I know we just had a coffee break. So you feel that there's a disruption in the digital world? Yes? How many people feel that there's a disruption happening today? Wonderful. Okay. And this discussion took on a very diverse and very interesting turn. Is it really a digital disruption? Has the digital realm disrupted how we run businesses today? It's exciting to see so many companies that are based on digital platforms with us today, and that's what ArabNet is all about. But today what I'm talking about is more of the creation of value and trust and responsibility. I want to start with an easy example. Facebook. How many of you have accounts on Facebook? Okay. Remember Farmville? How many of you used to have Farmville? Really? Bas? Okay. How many of you paid real money for a virtual farm? One? None? Okay. So, Farmville, cooking games, and many others. We wanted to own the best virtual farm, and we pay for virtual games. As we became enthralled in this virtual world, game developers gave us more and more to pick and choose, and that was the start. Okay? We love virtual ownership, and so in some instances we would shy away from material possession, but are excited to own it virtually, and the digital sphere took notice and further built on that. Our smartphones have more possessions than our offices and our sitting rooms. Think about it. How many pictures do you have on your phone? How many applications, games, music, documents, and so forth? This has more than what our homes sometimes have. Now, if we're to turn that into a touchable, hard format material, would we be hoarders? Since we were children, our parents have taught us that we had to share. And that's where we're talking about our sharing economy. Okay? And they stress the importance of sharing. So as children, it was very important to share. And today, all our platforms are all about sharing. But is it really sharing? And that's why, again, I go back and stress on the value and the trust and the responsibility. What is sharing? If we look at the Google translation of what is sharing or what is a sharing economy, it is known as a known collaborative consumption that is a trending business concept that highlights the ability and perhaps the preference for individuals to rent and borrow rather than buy and own these goods. And we see a lot of examples of these. We no longer want to buy cars. We would rather use Kareem. We don't want to buy houses. We go on or rent hotel rooms. We go and utilize Airbnb and so forth. And that's where we're seeing a shift globally on the idea of material possession. Which platform began the overall mindset? For me, it was Google. Okay? Google was where information was easily accessible. On one platform, you type in what you want and you get it for free. And that, for me at least, that was the start of what the sharing economy would eventually be. Initially, the digital sphere had removed the third party, and it's based on the user experience. And so has service providers' direct interaction with users, easing traditional manner in which business or experience is enhanced. For example, watching TV. How many of you have TV screens at home? How many of you have televisions? How many of you today watch your news or your movies on your phones or your tablets or your computers? Yes. See the change? And why did that happen? Is it because TV channels stopped broadcasting shows? Why? YouTube? How many of you watch more YouTube than TV? Wonderful. And by the way, the same numbers are showcased on all levels across different geographies, but mainly with a younger generation, okay? So viewership before was content creation, and then it was transferred to the channels, and then it was broadcast, and that's what we watch. Today, that changed dramatically. Video creators immediately reaching out to the viewers through broadcasting on YouTube. Then it became even further enhanced with Facebook Live, Musical.ly, Instagram Live, My Story, Instagram My Story, and so forth, Snapchat. Today, each of us is a content creator. Each of us is a video creator. And if you look at the hotel industry, the same thing. Hotels own property, they rent them, you call the travel agent, you call the hotel itself, whereas that part has been removed, and today you can rent a beautiful villa anywhere in the world. All you have to do is book it online through Airbnb or others. And in the future, we'll be even hearing about augmented reality, where you can virtually transport yourself and redefine how you look, changing your skin, so to speak. These are all services via shared platforms that enhance user experience. So there's always this code word, user experience, okay? And the list is endless. If we look at Careem, Amazon, Souq.com, Sawirli, Darrisni, Fancy, TaskRabbit, GetAround, Atbaqi, Tabibak, and the list is endless and endless. And some of them have built a very unique and distinctive sharing platform. So it builds on the economic development of a country, and it further develops what our SME sectors need. But with each service and work delivery, we need to take a step back and see not only the user experience, but the value it has created, the trust between user and provider, and the responsibility on hand. For example, we see initiatives and programs launched, then 5 years down the line, awareness campaigns are done to limit the usage or how the service is being utilized. Telecoms have been pushing on us their services, inundating us with packages and downloads and campaigns. But then another campaign hits a few years later, spend time with your family, switch off, don't text and drive, and so forth. Why can't that all be brought onto the table from the time of program development? How can we address this early on? Food for thought. I'm going to ask you 4 questions that I want to put on the table, and I'm going to move on to then if we can have a question and answer opportunity rather than just myself on stage talking. Is it really a shared economy? Okay? If we're deviating from material possession, then how will the services be available? Are we building a new business infrastructure that is taking away from SME growth? The vision of Saudi Arabia 2030 today is calling on diversifying from the oil industry and moving towards SME growth. But major corporations are still controlling and buying by having entrepreneurs build programs and then cashing out. Is that the case for us? Governments and regulators are questioning the long-term impact on the sharing economy and its effect on the community as a whole. How are these businesses helping in creating social value, not just monetary gain or quick service? For example, environmental concerns. Yes, it's great to have platforms and you can receive your goods within hours, but how is that affecting the environment? Women in the workforce. How many of these companies have women working in the company? On a management level? On a board level? Employment practices. Is it best employment practices? So how can we enhance this trust and be more responsible as businesses? So we've got value, trust, and responsibility. As we sit and think about developing entrepreneurial ventures, building on our sharing economy, identifying new applications, websites, etc., have we put these 3 key words in perspective? The responsibility that we have towards the environment, towards the community, towards the people who are working with us. Is it building on the trust, and how responsible are we? And from there, it gives me just these points, which is build a world where everyone's relevant. If you're building platforms, then make sure it's relevant for everybody. Don't buy cheap stuff. You're paying for exploitation of labor. Connect with people and help them grow their businesses. Work with entrepreneurs and SMEs. Help them build their excellence, deliver, and pay that extra because it's impacting somebody's immediate salary and family. Cheap stuff that is bought is not adding to the salary of the exploited laborer, it's going to major corporations. Design user experiences and not just the product interaction. But what impact is that having on a long-term and short-term on people's lives in all aspects? Bring the team on the table together, not just the product interaction, okay? When designing the platforms, work with responsibility, the product, the experience, the service, it provides health, environment, and so forth. For example, today, how many of you write? 1, 2, 3, 4. When was the last time you wrote a paragraph? 1 day ago? A week ago? You can't remember? Come on, raise those hands. Okay. Well, think of it this way. We all studied in schools where we had to have handwriting. This generation doesn't. They're scrolling. They're using one finger, right, to go through or tapping away on computers. Well, have you thought of what the health impact that will have on them in the future? Their wrist movement, they will not be able to throw a ball. And that affects it. Imagine if you cannot open a jar. Why? Because your motor skills are affected. This is the responsibility we're talking about. We need to go and identify how is this impacting our health today. Okay? Dispute non-factual information. Let's clean up what's online, all the negative information about your company. Don't allow it to stay there. Go in and dispute it. Dispute anything that happens. And last but not least, find your MIT, your most important thing. Don't do or be everything for everyone. Find what is your MIT and do it. With that, providing a living income to all humans is the first step for a real sharing economy. This is the nutshell, what's been discussed when we were at the Women's Conference and the whole mindset around it. Yes, we do need digital development. We need such platforms to come about, but we also need the responsibility part. And I'd like to now leave the floor for anybody who has any questions. We can take... I think we have enough time for a few questions. Thank you. Then thank you all for your time, and I'll hand the floor over to the team. Shukran.
Simon. شكرا أستاذة سارة العايد على هذا الإثراء الجميل. الآن راح نكون في جلسة عن دعم اقتصاد الخدمات عند الطلب.